is my birthday today. I'm turning 33. So 3 has always been my favorite number because I was born on 0330 and my family has always been 3. I'm an only child. But now my family has grown, but I am now closer to 40 than I am to 20. That's crazy. But here are 30 things I care a lot less about now that I'm in my 30s. Number 1 is having a huge friend circle. In high school, I did have a group of friends. They were guys and girls, and the guys were like my brothers, and then the girls were like my besties. Like, would have sleepovers every weekend, we binge watch shows, and that was just my group of friends. And then in college, we still would meet up maybe monthly, but it wasn't the same. But now in our 30s, I do still have a very strong connection with those friends. Our lifestyles have changed significantly. I feel like in my 30s, I just really care about having close friends that I can trust with my life. And of course, my husband is one of those friends. Next is being liked by everyone. And in my 20s, I just cared so much about pleasing people. And that's not to be fake, it's just truly I wanted to please other people because I didn't want them to hate me. But now in my 30s, I'm just like, I'll still try to be nice, but at the end of the day, if they still choose not to like me, that's on them, not on me. I care a lot less about forcing friendships, especially those one-sided friendships where you feel like you're putting in all this effort, you're the one reaching out, you're the one trying to catch up. It's okay. It's okay to let it go, let it be. Don't force something that doesn't need to happen. If they're meant to be in your life, they will be. Now, I would say my husband and I, we do tend to reach out to our friends often just to check in. That's not a bad thing, but if you start to notice, I feel like if I just never said anything, they would forget about me. It's okay. Going to every social event. I'm okay being home and I don't need to go to every single thing. And sometimes certain people want to bond and hang out, and then they'll bond with you another time, and that's totally fine. I truly love being home. I'm such a homebody and such an introvert. I'm okay. Next, I care a lot less about expecting other people to think the way I think or to have the same idea as me. More conversations I've had, wow, people think really differently, and sometimes you're just never gonna change their mind, and that's the way it is. So now I just tell myself, oh, that's one way to think about things. I think that can be difficult if you have the same goal in mind or you need to make a decision and you have different ideas. Then you gotta communicate that and figure it out. But for the most part, if it's just like you have this one thought and then somebody else has a different thought, that's okay. Number 6, I already touched on this, but FOMO. I am okay resting at home. I don't have as much FOMO as I used to in my teens or my 20s because I'm exactly where I need to be, or I'm taking exactly what I need. Next is having the perfect body. In my teens and in my 20s, I cared a lot about before a certain event, I'm going to eat well and work out more. I always say this on my channel, small habits become your lifestyle. So truly, if you're living in a way where your habits are guiding your lifestyle, you don't need to do that. So in my 30s, I just try to be consistent. I'll eat healthy most of the days. I work out 3 to 4 times a week, and I just maintain that. Even for our wedding, I did not do anything different. I didn't work out more. I didn't eat differently. This is the body I have, and this is the body we're gonna go with because I'm focusing more on strength and being healthy versus looking a certain way. But I have thought about, oh, it would be really cool if I could just be super shredded, but that's not because I want to look a certain way. It's just because I'm very goal oriented. If I set a goal for myself, could I do it? So that's the only reason why I may want to try that later, but it's not right now. Next is wearing trendy outfits all of the time. I used to shop a lot in my 20s, and now I rarely shop for anything. I'm okay with the clothes that I have, and I'll just mix and match my capsule wardrobe, and it is what it is. I'm not gonna follow like what's popular. I'm just gonna wear what makes me feel comfortable, what makes me feel confident. And if a trendy thing happens to be really comfortable, then sure, I'll do it. If I don't see myself wearing it for the next few years, then I'm not gonna get it. I also live in California, so I feel like in California, athleisure is a huge thing. The next thing is wearing makeup every day. I probably wear makeup like today, once or twice a week at most, and that's just if I'm going out or I'm gonna take a lot of pictures, but usually I just wear nothing but sunblock and just being very simple. I now also care a lot less about how I look. Maybe it's because I'm married, but not that I don't put in any effort, and I am a content creator, so of course there is that side of I want to look presentable. But again, I just value comfort over attraction or anything like that. You smell like corn Fritos. You can stay here. Another thing is that in my 20s, I also was like, oh, I would love to try this brand, or this brand is like luxurious, I should try it. But now it doesn't matter. If I like it, sure, but I'm not gonna do it to impress other people or to show like, oh, I can afford XYZ. Do you really want it? And will you use it for a long time? And if you won't, there's no point. Because you don't wanna live by impressing other people who are constantly inundated with new things all the time. So your new thing will eventually become an old thing. New things always become old eventually. Next is keeping up with beauty trends. This moisturizer or this viral thing. Every single body is so different, and I found that just because something works for one person doesn't mean it works for me. So that's why on my channel I like to share a lot of different things, because I'll test it out for you. I'll tell you if it worked for me or not, and maybe we might have similar skin types or skin tones. So I like to do a lot of research before I decide to do something. Not only do I look on TikTok, but I also look on Reddit. I go on Reddit so much. I think because on TikTok people have opinions and they're also creating content out of it, but on Reddit literally no face is shown. They're just saying their honest opinion and they do not hold back. So I usually check to see, what does Reddit feel? Next is a really big one. It's actually huge for me. I care a lot less about hustling 24/7. When I was in my teens and in my 20s, when I could actually start working, I had no other choice. It was we hustle and we do what we can, because I felt like I was starting negative 20 steps backwards from my friends who didn't have any student loans, whose parents were very well off and could afford to get them a car, help them on a down payment on a house. Like, I didn't have any of that, so I knew I need to hustle 10 times harder. And I was working so hard because I also wanted to get my family as far away from the life that they used to have. It was kind of like, it's up to me, I need to do these things. And that's why I ended up working 5 different jobs while going to grad school. And for a while, I felt like one job is not enough. I need to do more. Ooh. I'm realizing it's okay to say no to opportunities for the sake of rest, for the sake of mental health, doing nothing sometimes, and it's okay. I've gotten to that place because I've tried to heal my relationship with money and just not having it have such a hold on me, feeling like it's a sense of security, because God is my sense of security and He is my provider, not money. If it's not a heck yes, then it's a no. Or it's like, let me think about it, and usually it leads to a no. But with most things, you want it to be a yes, I want to do it. Sometimes I will do multiple opportunities just because I'm excited about it, but if I'm not excited about it, I would pull back a little bit. Next is tying my self-worth to, oh gosh. Next is tying my self-worth to productivity. In the hustle culture, it's really easy to feel like, oh, am I not doing enough? But it is enough. I've been learning to not tie my self-worth to my productivity. If someone asks me, how was your week? And I'm like, it was so chill. I watched Korean dramas. I finished my work right when I needed to. I still do hustle. I still have days where I'm just going non-stop. And I love to share that content with you guys to show what we're capable of, but does not mean it needs to happen every day. That's what leads to burnout, when you're just overexerting yourself. And with all things, balance. Because you also don't want to just do nothing when you can have the potential to do more. Next is pleasing toxic bosses or coworkers. And of course we want to love other people, serve other people, but I'm not going to be someone's doormat. In my current school, no one treats each other that way, so that's good.
You're safe. You're loved.
So I've had a lot of jobs. I've kind of lost count, and I care a lot less now about being loyal to an organization or a boss. But there was a time where I felt like I needed to be loyal to wherever I was working. And I felt so bad even thinking about leaving, put in so much time, effort, they put time into me. But it wasn't a very healthy work environment. Nobody wanted to take days off. And I feel like a lot of people in their 20s, is me included, we justify staying at a workplace for far too long just so we can be loyal. But we know we're dispensable. The minute we leave, they're gonna put up a new job listing within the next week and they're gonna replace us. That's business, that's the job. And I learned this the hard way because when I left one of my jobs, they had to hire 3 people to replace the job that I was doing. And that just made me realize, 1 Maya, 1 salary. I leave, now there's 3 people, each getting paid a salary just to replace all the work I was doing. So that was truly a wake-up call to me of, if you're not being valued and you know you need to leave, you need to leave. Next, care a little less, still working on it, but I care a little less about spending money on things that make life easier. I used to feel really guilty spending on myself, spending on anything, because I'd always think about my family or I'd think about my future. But my husband has reminded me it's okay. It's okay to spend on these things if it allows you to have more time. Next is apologizing for things when I don't need to. Not saying I won't be quick to apologize if I did something wrong, but I used to start my emails with, I'm so sorry I had to take tomorrow off because I have 102 fever. Like, I don't need to be sorry for that, which goes into my next point, but I would be mortified in my 20s if I did this. Not over explaining things. No is an answer. No is a full sentence. And that's still hard for me because I'm thinking about how the other person may interpret what I'm saying. Still try to be kind and explain, but I'm trying not to over explain. As I get older, I realize I just really cannot control everything. Making decisions is so hard sometimes, and I just have to remember that God has me exactly where I need to be, and every decision I make, He is sovereign over it. And so whatever I end up choosing, that's the way it was supposed to be, and that's the one I was supposed to choose, even if it ends up being bad. When I was younger, I felt like I could, and I can, and I will. And now it's like, I'm gonna try, but if it doesn't work, then it is what it is. Next is a big one, especially in your 30s, is not rushing to achieve something by a certain age. My husband and I started dating when I was 23 and he was 21, and I wanted to get married by the time we were 26. So we were 26, I realized, okay, we're not really in a life stage where we're capable of getting married, because he lived in the OC while I lived about an hour away. At that point in our lives, it was hard to mesh our lives together, and I was pretty much set as a teacher, so we had to wait a bit to logistically figure it out. And we ended up getting married when I was 30. Now that's 4 years past what I had set for myself, and that's okay. That was the perfect time for us to get married, and we felt a lot more stable. Of course, I wish we had jump-started our lives together sooner, and we do talk about like, oh, if we could go back in time, maybe we would have, but at the end of the day, this is the decision we made. This is our 10th year of dating, so we've been together for a very long time. But again, trying to get a promotion or trying to hit this thing by a certain age, it's gonna come when it's meant to come. And I know a lot of my friends actually, they talk about wanting a baby before 35. Like, that's the golden number, but I know so many moms who are moms at age 37 or 39 or 40 or 42 or even 42. I understand the qualms and the hesitation, and so I'm not saying to wait that long. If that's just what ends up happening, then that's just what ends up happening. Next is avoiding hard situations. I used to feel like I am gonna do everything I can to mitigate chaos, to make sure, you know, I have all my I's dotted, every T crossed, and then things still just don't go the way I planned. Or even let's take 2020 for example, no one could have planned for that or expected that. As I live life, I'm realizing there's just so much that we're not in control of. You gotta embrace it, you gotta roll with the punches, and the only way through it is through it. And that is truly like my amygdala just trying to prepare myself for grief or for chaos or for trauma. Shh, it's okay. You don't need to grieve about it twice. Next is caring about drama or gossip about someone else. This is a little different. I don't know why celebrity tea can be very enticing for people. I think because the stories themselves kind of become crazy. That's why I like to watch it on TikTok and whatnot. But when it comes to friendships, I would hate it if somebody talked that way about me, so I don't want to hear it from someone else. So if it's not about me, it's none of my business. I got Bam Bam when I was 19 years old, so Bam, can you turn around? Giving into my feelings. I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like cooking. Or let's take it a step further. I don't feel like God is listening. In my 20s, I feel like I really gave into my feelings. I remind myself often feelings are not facts, and it's okay to feel a certain way. Feelings are valid. It's telling us something, but it doesn't mean it's factual and that it's the reality of the situation. Sometimes I sit with my feelings, I cry, I get sad, I think all the things, and then what do you do next? You need to act. You need to do something about that. Okay, we can't stay here. We can't stay in this feeling. And when it comes to like doing a task, usually I just tell myself too bad and I just do it. So for a workout, I just say too bad, we're going. And I never regret it. Next is feeling guilty about resting. This is given my hustle mentality. I used to feel guilty for chilling. But resting is not being lazy, it's necessary. But that doesn't mean, we should take like a month to do nothing unless you plan for it. But to let your mind be at rest, that's actually preparing you to do better work. I can only do my best work when I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I try my best to always get 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and if something happens where I can't, I can tell. Next, not ruffling any feathers. I was such a big peacemaker, which is not a bad thing, but now I'm not afraid to speak up, especially if I'm standing up for someone that I love and care about. Or if it's going to help the other person become a better person, then I'm going to say something. I know what's true, I know what's right, and I'm gonna say something. Next is mindlessly consuming content and believing everything I see. I've realized there really is two sides to every story, and even on TikTok or social media, it's been curated to feed us a certain type of narrative, and that narrative can switch very quickly. And so I'm realizing I need to just form my own opinions without being influenced by what media says, because the media is biased towards whichever scenario you're looking for. Next is sharing literally every detail of my life with my friends. In my 20s, I used to send giant paragraphs to all my friends, just letting them know about everything that's going on, and then they would do the same for me. And we would just talk about like fights with our parents or fights with our ex-boyfriends or da-da-da-da-da. Like, here is the play-by-play of what's going on in my life. Now my husband gets to hear that, but with my friends, I just tell them the big stuff. I don't really go into the nitty-gritties, except with maybe like 1 or 2 people. But even then, maybe I'm more guarded. Maybe I just want to tell my husband. I think there was a shift in my head where I realized, oh, I guess I don't have to tell my friends about every single argument or fight or issue, and it'll figure itself out, and it's okay. But if you continue to do that, that's not a bad thing. I think it's just realizing it's also normal for it to not be like that. And I love getting that from my friends. I love when my friends update me and tell me all these things, because then I feel like, oh, they felt like it was worth sharing with me, and I'm gonna take care of that. Thinking that I need to have it all figured out. Because you guys, even in my 30s, I'm still figuring it out. And there's so many people in their 30s who also make career changes, and that's okay. We're still young. A last tidbit about your 30s is energy-wise, I do have less energy. Even though I'm doing pretty much similar amount of effort and work, I just get tired a lot more easily. And you guys, I'm very active, I eat healthy, I do all the things, but it's not the same as when I was in my 20s. But it's not like it happened overnight. It was just a very gradual change where I compare myself to when I was in my 20s, and I'm like, wow, I had so much energy. But I like it. I like who I am. I'm confident in who I am, much more than in my 20s. I hope that this video helps you also realize, okay, there are certain things in life that we don't have to care too much about, and things change. Someone on Reddit also posted, maybe in our 30s, we've just learned what to care about more. That's why it seems like we care less about certain things, because we know at this point what's really important and what we really need to care about. Because it doesn't mean I care less about the people that I love, it just means I care less about the other things. So thanks for spending my birthday with and watching through this video as my birthday gift. If you could like and subscribe for my birthday, I would love that. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye! And if you have a March or April birthday, then happy birthday!